Should we have a little chit chat video today all about hair removal and the bearded women? Cheers! Welcome to my channel. I'm Andrew. Today's video is a chit chat video all about my hair removal journey. But before we get started, I invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. Whilst you're there, you can dingle on my bell, which will remind you every time I upload a video. Okay, this has been a requested video, so I thought I would sit down and have a little chit chat for you in this vlogtober month about my hair removal journey. Thank you, Fauzia, very much for requesting this video. She asked me if I didn't mind talking about my hair removal journey, and let me tell you, it has been a long journey. It certainly has. Okay, where did it start? It started at birth. No, seriously. Okay, so, you know, when we're very young, you don't notice these things, but all of us get to a certain age and, you know, we go through the changes as we grow up, and then things happen to our body. And hairs started to sprout out my body at, I don't know, I can't remember what age I noticed them, but you know, you start noticing these things and noticing your peers and you think, I'm kind of hairy. Why am I so hairy? You know, I'm going to make this sound awful, but you know how in our own heads everything is exaggerated? Well, I think the hair growth on my body was very much exaggerated in my head. Thinking back now, I think, but anyway, it's easy to think that now that I'm at a stage where I don't have any hairs. So I grew up in London where I was surrounded by other girls that I felt at the time weren't as hairy as I was. I was very much focused on, oh my goodness, and you know, I didn't really have dark hair, but I just felt, in comparison to the other girls around about me, you know, I felt hairy. You know, you would see the lovely blonde girls, and of course blonde hair doesn't show up on the white skin and all of that, whereas I was quite light skinned, and my hair, although it wasn't black or dark or anything like that, it would show up anyway. Okay, so that's kind of how I felt. If I'd say anything to Mum, she would say, don't you dare shave. Don't you dare shave. If you shave, those hairs are going to double, they're going to treble, they are going to get so much worse. She had me terrified of shaving, okay? But I now realise it's because they didn't want me to pretty myself up at the time. They didn't want me to grow up too quickly. And you know, once you start wanting to do all these things, you know, I think it gets scary for parents of a daughter, especially a Greek girl, you know. The last thing they want is they don't want you getting attractive too early and attracting the opposite sex, you know. You know how it goes. They'd rather you walked around with a moustache and hairy legs, basically, and a monobrow. That was our life, okay? Listen, if you're Greek, please don't take offence, okay? I'm not saying all Greek girls were hairy, but I also know that a lot of Greek girls pretend that they were never hairy because they've had all the treatments. Oh, I can feel those thumbs down. I can feel them. Never mind, I don't care. I'm honest, okay? This is how I felt. So one day, I can't remember what age I was, but one day I decided I'd had enough, right? I was going swimming, I was wanting to wear shorts, I was going swimming and I needed to do something, okay? So one day I decided I would shave. Out came my daddy's razor, and it could have been my mum's razor, right enough, and I shaved my legs. And that evening I sat down and I cuddled up to my dad like I always did. big 6-foot man, and I would cuddle up to him, and he looked and he says to me, "Have you shaved your legs?" And I'm like, oh my God. You know, even at that point, it felt as if shaving my legs, my bracelets come off, my mama's bracelet. Even at that time, it felt shaving your legs was the biggest sin you could commit at that age, growing up as a Greek girl. How dare I go and shave my legs without my parents' permission? God forbid I do anything without my parents' permission. You know what it's like. Okay, I don't know if you do, but that's what it was like for us, growing up Greek. So, you know, how dare I try and make myself more attractive by shaving my legs? I was going through hell up here. I needed these hairs removed. And I looked at my dad and I didn't know what to say. So, of course, then my mum gets it, you know. Did you say that your daughter has shaved her legs? You're supposed to be making sure your daughter doesn't do these things. You're supposed to be keeping an eye on our daughter, and she has shaved her legs, and you haven't even noticed that she has shaved her legs. Bang! This is how it went. My poor mama got it from my dad that I did to shave my legs, and my mum didn't even know. For me, oh my goodness, seeing the difference of my legs now that they were shaved, they were the most beautiful legs. Oh my goodness me, they looked amazing. And I think initially I just did them like up to the knee. The next time when I realised how good they looked up to the knee, it went up all the way up the thigh. Anyway, my mum then decided that, you know, we weren't going to go down this shaving route, and she was right, I'll take you and you can get them waxed. So I started then getting my legs waxed. Meanwhile, I had also watched my mum get threading done on her face. Now, okay, shaving your legs was one thing, that was okay, that was accepted. And then I'm like that to mum, I want my face done like yours, because then I noticed this blinking moustache growing. Then I noticed the flipping monobrow. You know, all these hairs started growing here as well. And yeah, so my mum would go to the hairdressers every week. That was her thing. So she would meet her friends at the hairdressers on a Saturday, so she'd be working all week. Saturday afternoon, my dad would drop her off at the hairdressers. The gathering of all the Greek women, getting all their bouffants done, or whatever they were called, getting all their hair done, you know, all the ladies that had all the factories, you know, anyway. So I would watch her, I would go in with her, because she would get my hair done as well, because, you know, I was an only child. If she's mama got her hair done, she was there, I'd just do her hair as well. So then I started asking for the threading. I want it done. I don't, look, come on mum, look, I want to take it off. Eventually, nag, I was allowed also to get the threading done on my face, like my mum got hers done. And it was an Asian woman that would come into the hairdressers just to do the threading. And I remember she used to put one end of the string in her mouth, the thread in her mouth, and she would do this action. Anyway, so I got that done for a while as well. So as time went on, I had my waxing, I had my threading done, I would get my eyebrows plucked, blah blah blah, all was well and good. But then, you know, years of shaving or years of waxing and all of that, you start seeing a shadow, and I didn't like that shadow. Okay, so there would always be a shadow under your arms, a shadow around the bikini area, a shadow at the back of my thighs, and ingrown hairs were another nightmare, especially with waxing. So by this time, I was married, I think. Anyway, so I started looking into laser treatment. No, actually my mum was getting laser treatment at this point in Cyprus. So when I went over to Cyprus, I decided to try laser treatment. But let me tell you, I need a glass of wine. I need some wine after that when I think back to the pain of that first laser treatment. It was horrendous. I don't know what type of machine they use, but it was like a big thick head, and it was kind of a reaction, and it felt like it was burning. It was awful. And they would put an ice pack on, then go in with that. It was awful. It was the most awful thing I'd ever had done. And I was like, I am never, ever, ever in my entire life ever doing that again. I'm just going to suffer with the ingrown hairs, the shadows, the having to wait for the hairs to grow in, which is what you have to do with waxing, to get them waxed. So, you know, I don't know how many good weeks would you get of not having any hairs, because then you were having to let them grow in. So then you were walking about with hairy legs and hairy armpits and all of that with waxing. Oh, incidentally, I'd also had electrolysis done, which is basically a needle going into each follicle, burning the root or whatever it does. But you could only get like 5 blinking hairs done at a time. What was that going to do for me? I wanted the lot moved away, so you'd get 5 here maybe done, 5 here, 5 here. I mean, really and honestly, and then it would irritate my skin and I would get, oh, no thank you. That was a process in itself. I mean, seriously, it doesn't matter how fast the person was that was doing electrolysis. How much hair removal were you going to get done with this one single needle going into it? Needle, zzz, needle, zzz, needle, zzz. I mean, come on. What was that going to do for a Greek girl? Anyway, eventually, I started looking into lasering again. And so I found somebody local to me. And in fact, it was RICOS. By the way, have you noticed that a salon has opened up and they're doing lasering? Because he knew how much I hated the whole process of hair removal. And I'm quite paranoid about hairs on the body and on the face. So I booked an appointment. I went in, I spoke to them. I had told them about the horrendous situation that, you know, had happened in Cyprus and how much it had put me off. And this is what this machine's totally different, blah blah blah. So I booked in a session, and it was a totally different laser to what I have now. So what they did was they covered me in this black, was it carbon stuff? Like they would cover my leg in this black stuff and laser it, and as they lasered, the black stuff would be removed and all of that. I don't know how that worked, but that's what it was. And it worked. That worked at the time. So it took a while because I got everything done. So one week I would go and get my underarms, the following week I would get my bikini area, my face, I got my arms done, my legs, everything. I got everything done. And eventually they changed their laser to what I know now as the IPL, which is intense pulse light. So basically this kind of laser light goes down into the root and kills the root. But you need like dark hair. It doesn't really work on blonde hair, and it doesn't work on red hair. So you need dark hair to travel down the hair follicle and into the root. And that's why they say, I don't know now if there's new lasers, so I'm not here to tell you about lasers or anything like that. I'm not an expert about lasers. I just tell you what I know and what's worked for me. So they say with IPL, it doesn't work on dark skin, but I have read somewhere that there are new ones that do work now on dark skin, so I don't know. But anyway, so the best type of skin is light skin with dark hair. Doesn't work on grey hair. So basically, the earlier you get it done, the better, you know, before your hairs go grey. Because once the hairs go grey, it's not going to work on the grey hairs. So we moved on to IPL, and it has been amazing. Okay, is it permanent? For the majority of the areas on my body, it has been permanent. It has been a long process because I got a lot done. But I still have to go back, I don't know, maybe once, twice a year, just whenever, you know, as a wee top-up session. she calls it like a wee scan, and she basically just scans the whole of my body. There's nothing on my legs now. I don't have any hairs on my legs. It's amazing. I don't have any ingrown hairs. I don't have any shadow of dark hairs growing in. I don't have to worry, you know, if I just want to go on holiday randomly. I'm done. I am fixed. I don't have to worry about things, about hair growth at all. So I don't have any hairs on my legs. I would say I still have some on my knees, being a real tough area, and I don't have any under my arms, and I still sometimes have to go back for hairs on my face. But you know, I scrutinize my face under a 10 times magnifying mirror, so probably to the naked eye nobody would be able to see. I have had hairs kind of grow here, and I think that's the Revitalash. Plus I was using a while back this Capucci oil, some sort of oil, and then when I read up on that, it was supposed to be like a natural retinol type thing, and then when I read up on it, it says it encourages hair growth. Because I went back to the laser place I go to, and they were like, where did this come from? Where did it come from? And like I've said this on my video before, George, my son, even said to me, what is that on your face? And it was when I was using that oil. It was crazy. So hair growth can come back, you know, we women go through all the hormonal changes as well. That could create hair growth, but honestly, it has been amazing. Laser for me has been a godsend. It has been a freedom. It is the best thing I've ever done. And if I had a daughter, that's what I would do. Once she got to an age where she was allowed to have laser treatment and she needed laser treatment, definitely I would never put her through shaving, and I would never put her through waxing. It would be, and I don't find it painful. It could be a bit, you know, in your sensitive areas it can be a bit, but it's no big deal. I don't find it painful, and it's honestly been the most amazing thing I've ever done. It's so good never to have to worry about a shadow under your arms or waiting for those hairs to grow. All those horrible, uncomfortable ingrown hairs. Oh, horrible, horrible. If you've had an ingrown hair, you know how disgusting they are. So yeah, I would definitely, if I had a daughter, I would definitely. My granddaughters, if any of them, well, Anna's really blonde, George is darker, but that's what I would recommend for them, really and honestly. That's what I would say. Go get it lasered. Once they're of an age, definitely. Why suffer? Why suffer with all this, you know? And it's not as expensive as it used to be. You know, it's really quite reasonable now to get laser treatment. Of course, it depends where you go and all of that, but yeah, I absolutely recommend laser treatment. And I always feel when sometimes I go because it just gives me a lovely glow when I go and get it done. I actually enjoy getting it done, and it's like a right good cleanse on your face when I get it done. So yeah, I haven't had it done now for a very long time. I have bought one of these home ones I bought off of Amazon for when we were in lockdown. I thought just to kind of maintain, just like if hairs come up on my face. And you know, I have very few, right, because I am a bit paranoid, like I said. But I bought one anyway. Do they work? They do, but they are nothing like the ones you would get in a clinic, and there's no way that machine would have worked for me when I started lasering. That's okay for me as an upkeep type thing now, for the odd hair that sprouts, but not if you've got like a full growth of hair, you know. Like I could never do like a whole leg with one of those wee handheld ones that, you know, you buy. Mine was just an Amazon make. It wasn't like the Philips or anything like that. So I don't know about these other ones, but that particular one that I've got, yeah, it's fine for what I use it, which is like, oh, there's a hair sprouted, and I go ping like that. But it definitely wouldn't have been any good for me right at the beginning of trying to get rid of all these hairs. So that has been my journey. I am now that Greek girl that doesn't have hairs anymore, or never did, because that's what I choose to say. Anyway, so highly recommend laser. Forget about the waxing, forget about the shaving and all these. Oh, I mean, I did everything. I did the sugar stuff. Remember the sugar stuff? Years ago, the wax that they used, I mean, I remember when I first got waxed, it was like what we call a hot wax. So they would put it in a pot, it would melt, take it out and put the actual wax, so not a strip, the actual wax, remove it, you'd see all the hairs on it, put it back in the pot, stir it, melt, back on it went the hairs, and I'm sure it got reused for different clients. Yes, that would not happen these days, not at all, but I'm sure years ago that's what they used to do. And then there was the thing that they used to make with the sugar or the honey or whatever it was, that, and they used to do this with it, stick it, remove, come back down, pull that. I've had that done. Honestly, I have tried everything, and laser, IPL, yes, thank goodness for that. Okay, enough said about my hairy me, but yeah, so I'm not a bearded lady anymore. Okay, enough. Cheers, thank you very much for watching. If you would like to see more videos from me, I'm going to link one here, and if you're not already subscribed, just press the A right here, and I'll catch you next time.